Was your report card ever a measure of your family's happiness? Did love in your house feel conditional? Something you had to earn with A's and achievements? Were you the smart one? The one with all the potential? The one everyone expected to go far? And are you now the one who feels completely and utterly lost, disconnected, watching your peers who maybe weren't the smart ones build careers, relationships, and fulfilling lives, while you're still stuck in analysis paralysis, terrified of making the wrong move? If you are, then you know this isn't just a phase. It's the slow, quiet collapse of an identity you never asked for, but one that you were taught was your only source of value. For years, you believed that success would make you lovable, that your intelligence was your ticket to a life without struggle. But the real world shattered that illusion. College, careers, relationships, they didn't have a syllabus or an answer key. And when success stopped being effortless, the internal logic was brutal. If I have to struggle, I must not be smart. And if I'm not smart, then I am worthless. This is the point where the collapse goes inward into a black hole of self-loathing. You start to hate praise because it feels like a lie. You avoid any situation where you might not succeed because the imposter syndrome is so crippling. This is the prison of potential. You become so terrified of failing to live up to the smart kid label that you stop trying altogether. You get stuck in analysis paralysis, watching others build lives while you dabble in a dozen things but commit to nothing. Because commitment means risking the discovery that you might be average. And in the world you grew up in, average was the same as invisible. So you exist in a state of exhaustion. Even when you're resting, you're tired. Tired of performing, tired of calculating every move, tired of the constant pressure to be impressive. You end up a hollow shell, having shed the only identity you ever knew, with nothing to replace it. You feel like a failure, not just in your career, but as a person. If you are there right now, I want you to take this 4-step guide to reclaiming your life. Step 1. Hold a funeral and conduct an identity audit. First, you must consciously let the smart kid identity die. That identity served you once, but it is no longer serving you. Acknowledge what it gave you, but more importantly, acknowledge what it cost you. And then make a conscious decision to leave it behind and clear the ground to rebuild. Get a journal and write this heading. Who am I besides smart? You are not allowed to use words like achiever. Instead, list your roles. A son, a daughter, a cat owner, a friend. List your values. List simple things you enjoy. The taste of coffee, morning walks, favorite music. Look at that list. You are already so much more than a single adjective. This is your proof. This is your new foundation. This exercise can be incredibly powerful, especially when we realize we aren't alone in this. I'd love for you to share just one thing from your list in the comments below. It could be a role, a value, or a simple joy. Let's create a collective reminder for everyone watching that we are all so much more than a single label. Step 2. Redefine SMART from a noun to a verb. This is the most powerful mental shift you can make. The toxic version of smart is a fixed state versus a growth state. When smart is something you are, your whole life becomes a performance, and you avoid anything that will suggest that you're not. Missing out on opportunities to learn something new, an instrument, a new business, because you think, if I'm not a natural, then it ain't for me. Your new definition of being smart is the ability to not focus on the outcome, but the process. Stop saying I am not a business person and say I am not a business person yet. It's about discovering who you can become. Step 3. Become a deliberate amateur. Your brain is conditioned to believe that if you can't do something perfectly, you shouldn't do it at all. Set a timer for 5 minutes and do one thing, just one, that you've been avoiding because you're afraid you'll be bad at it. The goal is participation. Be clumsy, be awkward. When the 5 minutes are up, you tried something and weren't perfect. And guess what? You survived. Your worth is still intact. Being human means you're allowed to be uncertain, allowed to grow, allowed to be messy, and allowed to be a work in progress. Step 4. Shift from performer to participant. In social settings, stop trying to be the most impressive person. It's exhausting and it pushes people away. Instead, become a participant. Your only job is to connect. When you're genuinely focused on someone else's world, there is no mental space left to be anxious about your own, analyzing how you're perceived, and being terrified of sounding stupid. This is how real connection is built, not on a foundation of being the wittiest, but on a foundation of shared humanity, finally allowing the person who has been buried under a lifetime of pressure to come out and breathe. So when that harsh inner critic tells you you're failing, learn to offer yourself the same care and kindness you would a friend. Your worth is not up for debate. It is not tied to your GPA, your job title, or how quickly you solve a problem. You do not have to prove your right to exist with dignity. Become a deliberate amateur and learn that it's okay, even joyful, to be a beginner at something. The real world isn't a test you can pass or fail. It's an experience you get to participate in, and it's time to show up. You don't have to do it alone. These 4 steps are your starting point, but rebuilding an identity is a journey that requires tools, a community, and a structured path. That is exactly why we are building the Pursuit of You Academy. It's a new kind of academy, not just for academic achievement, but for the practical pursuit of yourself. It will have courses on building creative confidence, finding your purpose after burnout, and connecting authentically. We're launching in a couple of months, and I'm opening up a waitlist for the founding members of this community. Comment the word pursue and we'll give you first access when we go live. And in the meantime, please subscribe to the channel. Let's build this together and help each other in this pursuit of you.